This meeting's called to order. Councilman Iverson will lead us in the flag salute, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is convened in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey. Let the official meetings reflect that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by publishing a notice in the Asbury Park Press on Friday, January 10, 2025, and the Star Ledger on Friday, January 10, 2025. And thereafter, posting same on the Town Hall Bulletin Board for such notices, and filing same with the Township Clerk. Pursuant to resolution adopted by the Township Council on Tuesday, January 7, 2025. The meeting dates have also been posted on the Township webpage. Mr. Hensel, roll call, please.
Council President Lamb.
Here.
Council Vice President Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman O'Toole.
Here.
Councilman Byrne.
Here.
Councilman Zuccosi.
Make a motion for Councilman Zuccosi's excused absence tonight. May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Councilman Iverson.
Here.
And Councilman Quinn.
Here.
Motion for minutes, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Council Vice President Coleman, seconded by Councilman Quinless, I believe. Council Vice President Coleman.
Yes.
Councilman Quinless.
Yes.
Council President Lamb.
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Toole.
Yes.
Councilman Byrne.
Yes.
Councilman Zuccosi. He's absent. Councilman Iverson.
Yes.
Item number 6 is an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Section 477-79, Schedule 21 speed limits of Chapter 477, Vehicles and Traffic of the Township Code, reducing the speed limit on Garfield Avenue, removing zones 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Garfield Avenue between Riverside Drive and Route 37, and Garfield Avenue between Route 37 and Cottonwood Drive, and establishing new zones 1, 2, and 3 in order to promote enhanced vehicular and pedestrian safety. This is a first reading.
May I have a motion, please, for 6?
Second. I'll make the motion. Sorry.
Motion was made by Councilman Quinless,
I'll second.
seconded by Council Vice President Coleman. Councilman Quinless,
Yes.
Council Vice President Coleman,
Yes.
Council President Lamb,
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Byrne,
Yes.
Councilman Iverson.
Yes.
Item number 7 is an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 348 Land Use and Development Regulations to increase the minimum area for when engineering, grading, drainage, and a survey is required. This is also a first reading.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in here.
Go ahead,
Council
Larry.
President. Currently, any shed that a resident buys, even if it's a $400 shed at Home Depot, that's a 6x5, requires thousands of dollars worth of engineering plans, grading, drainage, and ultimately, I believe that results in fewer people even pulling the permit. Honestly, I just think it's ridiculous to ask for those kind of things. I believe it's the UTC council. I believe Peter can attest to this. UCC code states that anything over 200 square feet requires these kind of things, but other accessory buildings do not. So if somebody wants to put up a greenhouse or a shed or something along those lines, as long as it's smaller than 200 square feet, from now on they're only going to need a zoning permit. And to get a zoning permit, they'll have to either sketch it onto an existing survey or sketch it on an aerial photograph, let's say perhaps from Google Earth, and list the distances that they're going to be from the setbacks, call it 5 feet, 7 feet, whatever it is in that zone. And that's all they're going to need for approval from now on. You shouldn't need to spend $5,000 on a $500 shed. It's absurd, it's onerous, it's classic New Jersey, and we're trying to get back to the reasons that people move to Toms River, which is looser regulation, more freedom to do what you want with your own personal property. So that's all I have today.
Thank you very much. Motion 7, please.
I make a motion.
Motion was made by Councilman Quinless, seconded by Councilwoman O'Toole. Councilman Quinless.
I believe this is an ordinance that would benefit the residents, making the process a little bit easier for everybody to get a permit for small garden-like structures. From what I understand, it brings it in line, brings zoning and drainage and all that stuff in line with what the building department UCC codes require. It just makes it easier for everybody, so I vote yes.
Councilwoman O'Toole.
Yes.
Council President Lamb.
Yes.
Council Vice President Coleman.
Yes.
Councilman Byrne.
Yes.
And Councilman Iverson.
Yes.
Item number 8 on the agenda is a resolution rejecting the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs non-binding calculation of the township's affordable housing obligation and adopting the township's correctly calculated present need and prospective need numbers.
Thank you, Mr. Hensel. Mayor, I believe you had a comment about this as well. Please.
Yes. First, I want to thank Councilman Lamb for a Hail Mary pass that we received just a few days ago. The state originally presented a number of 670 units to Toms River. We hired a great firm for planning, Alimo. Rick Hunt from Alimo spent several months working on this problem, investigating it. I, for one, felt that we did not have the land for 670 units. He wound up working to remove lands that were improperly classified. But when he did, we were still not satisfied with the number. He was still left with an enormous number that was frankly unacceptable to the administration and to the council because we just didn't have the land. I think after we spoke a little more in depth, he said, you know, Mayor Roderick, if we had no land in town, you would still be required to build 450 units under this formula. And I said, that's ridiculous. How can that be possible? How can we possibly be required to build that if we had no land? And he said, well, you have a strong tax base, and there's been an awful lot of development over the past several, decade or so. So one morning, just as we were about to give up hope, Justin Lamb, Councilman President Lamb, sent me a news article published in Shore Beat that Lavalette had challenged the state's number, reducing it, I know it doesn't sound like much, but for Lavalette it's a lot, from 35 units to 7 units. And in that story, it talked about how the state got it wrong and how they were calculating Sandy rehabbed homes and replacement homes from Hurricane Sandy as new development. So once we got our planner and our legal counsel on that and began to examine that and recalculate based on not having all of that development, based on that just being replacement of houses that were existing but destroyed by a storm, it brought the number all the way down to 114. But frankly, we may not have to do anything at all because according to current case law, New Brunswick, Peter? Mr. Pasquarello? There was this recent case law decision that said that the Affordable Housing Council or what have you could not mandate any more than 1,000 units per round, and the prior administration built 1,250. So usually those numbers carry into the next round when you build more than what you're supposed to. So fingers crossed. We have the very best legal counsel, the best planners, and working on this, but it looks like we may not have to do any affordable housing. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I also, my sentiments are with the mayor, and I spoke to other council members, including Councilman Quinless yesterday about this. This is all being pushed by bleeding heart social engineers like Democrat Singleton, Troy Singleton, and the lobbying efforts of the Fair Housing Center, a group of sniveling, race-baiting, Ivy League Democrats from Trenton who want to tell Toms River that we're not fulfilling our obligations. But we're certainly not going to allow that. We're going to fight back. And this resolution is a sound rejection of Trenton's efforts for local control. And I thank you, Councilman Quinless, for your, again, our discussion yesterday, and I look for your support today. So with that, Mr. Hensel, may I have a motion, please, for 8?
I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Quinless, seconded by Councilwoman O'Toole. Councilman Quinless.
Where I agree with Mr. Lamb on this, the state should not be ramming down these numbers down our throat. But with that in mind, we have a responsibility to take care of those less fortunate. So I accept that we're going to have some of these units, but the requirements that they're asking of us are a lot. Our young residents and our seniors will benefit, single mothers especially will benefit from affordable housing. So it's not to say that we cannot have any, we just should not be obligated or forced to have the numbers that the state is pushing for. With that said, I vote yes.
Councilwoman O'Toole?
Yes, absolutely.
Council President Lamb?
I want to thank Councilman Quillis for support. I just want to, like we discussed yesterday, explain to you that's what Trenton uses. They use the single mother, they use the the example of special needs and all that. But you know what? When Tom's River, our job up here is to make sure we maintain local control, and that's what we're going to do. And I know that Mayor Roderick and I fought for this way back to 2017, and we're going to fight and keep fighting. I thank you for your support, and again, I vote yes.
Council Vice President Coleman?
Yes.
Councilman Byrne?
Yes.
And Councilman Iverson?
Yes.
Moving on to the consent agenda, all matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired at any time, that item will be considered separately.
Thank you, Mr. Hensel. I just want to go over with the public again. We have my own separate rules. I'd like the public to please form a line in the center aisle, and when you approach, state your full name and address. Each speaker will identify the agenda item by its letter that they would like separated for a separate roll call vote. Pursuant to code, members of council can also ask for a brief discussion or roll call of a specific item. This discussion shall remain relevant to the agenda item being discussed. However, this discussion period can be suspended on my discretion. Prior to the discussion, a roll call may request separate items. Any balance remaining will be enacted on one separate motion. Now, before we start with the public, does any member of council want a roll call or separate item discussed?
Yes. Roll call F and discussion on F, L, and N.
Slow down that part. Right,
F as in Franklin.
roll call on,
F. Roll call discussion on F,
okay.
L, and N as in Nancy.
That's F, L, and N. You want discussion as well?
Yes.
Did he say N or M?
N is in Nancy, right?
Anything else?
Anything else? Any other member of council have anything that they'd like removed for a separate roll call or discussion?
No.
Thank you. Does the public have any item that they'd like removed for a roll call or separate discussion? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. May I have a motion, please, to close the public portion of that?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We need a motion to approve the consent agenda, the balance of it.
I make the motion.
Second.
Motion was made by Council Vice President Coleman, seconded by Councilwoman O'Toole. Council Vice President Coleman?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Toole?
Yes.
Council President Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Byrne?
Yes.
Councilwoman Iverson?
Yes.
Councilman Quinlis?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with Resolution F, is in Foxtrot. Councilman Quinlis, please.
Resolution F deals with awarding a contract to A Academy Termite Pest Control. Apparently the lowest bidder for animal control services for the town of Toms River, but if I remember correctly, there was a lot of public outcry for not using this company last year, and we tabled the motion to use them indefinitely, yet I see they went out to bid and they were awarded this contract. I don't really think they are going to do a great job for Toms River, and if there's a way, I would like to see them not be the bidder on this one.
Well,
Could I
so, yes, I'll defer to the administration to respond. And from my knowledge, it was falling under the threshold.
Yes.
I'll let the administration
Yes.
respond to that.
So first of all, this company has two businesses. One's a pest control, the other company services nearly all of the neighboring municipalities, and frankly, currently services Toms River, where they cover, or have covered, 2/3 of the schedule or more, for a cost of only $11,000 for 6 months. So they've done nearly all the pickups. So they've covered the night times for the entire week, and they covered Thursday and Fridays in the day. Then we had an animal control officer cover Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for 8-hour shifts, and on Saturday and Sunday, the animal control officer was on 24 hours a day, except that animal control officer costs $150,000, maybe even more, when you calculate in health benefits and, in addition to his salary along with the pension and benefits. So this company has been serving the town. They service numerous towns around. It doesn't even really have to be on here, but for transparency purposes, it is. We do not anticipate it going up beyond the bid threshold, but given that, there was this motion to table and this confusion earlier on, I should say misinformation earlier on last year, indicating that this was some sort of pest control that was going to pick up animals and put them to death or something along those lines. Because of that, I decided that I asked Council President Lynn if we should just stick this on and air it to the public. Again, they're here already. They're performing a good portion of the schedule. We don't really need the support of the council, given it's not going to be over that threshold, but I thought it would be important to put it out there.
Thank you very much. Motion after this? Have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Council Vice President Coleman, seconded by Councilwoman O'Toole. Council Vice President Coleman,
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Toole,
Yes.
Council President Lamb,
Yes.
Councilman Byrne,
Yes.
Councilman Iverson,
No.
Councilman Quinlish.
Before I vote, I want to say that we ruled them out because they serve more than 8 municipalities. They're not very, they don't come with a great reputation for the service that they provide. The mayor wants to tout how much work they've done for us at a discounted price. I think I've calculated well over $44,000 so far last year, not 11, and I will double check that before I commit to it. But also, if they were doing such a stellar job so far, then why did the one resident get up a couple weeks ago and said, I believe it was the month of October, that the police responded to something like 180 animal calls? So they're not doing a great job, and they're not liked by the community, and they're overextended. So again, I think that this is something that should be reconsidered.
Your vote, please.
My vote is no.
Moving on to item L.
Any question on L, Jim?
It's a tricky one. I don't want to get in trouble here. The reason why I bring up L is because we're reappointing Kim Pascarella, who is the township attorney, a prosecutor for the township. His son right here is our municipal attorney. He also serves on one or two of other boards, and he's also going to be on one of our other items where we're going to appoint him to the MUA. I don't know if there's any conflict with all of this. I would like more input from professionals to understand, is this too much? I don't mind giving him the prosecutor's job. He's apparently well qualified for that.
Peter Pascarella, can you answer that, or you think that you're conflicted to answer?
That's why I asked, Mr. McDuckin's on vacation, so I asked an associate from his office to come, Mr. Varga,
After he's through, I'd like to also, Council President, get an opportunity to explain why it's
Right,
important.
one at a time, so you're going to opine on that.
Very briefly, with
Okay.
respect to the alleged ethical violation, there is no alleged ethical violation here. The council is more than within its authority to appoint Mr. Pascarella to the position as prosecutor.
Yeah, I just want to add that, Mr. Pascarella, Kim, he comes with over 40, 50 years of legal experience. He was prosecutor in several municipalities. I believe that Tom's River, through the great efforts of our new, again, installed chief of police, it's a busy court. They're out there doing a lot of traffic stops, there's a lot of tickets, and the court's very busy. And I believe that's why they got to bifurcate the prosecutor position like they've done with the public defender's office as well. So, Mayor, briefly tell us, again, your position, and we'll go from there.
Well, it is a very busy court. Last year, we actually increased the number of public defenders from 1 public defender to 3 because the judge had said it was becoming so difficult to move the calendar. We are reducing that back to 2 public defenders and doubling the number of prosecutors just to get this moving. There are 2 judges, 2 calendars, 2 prosecutors, 2 public defenders. It should speed things up. Mr. Pascarella, for those of you who may not know, is a pretty accomplished man who does not need the job, but he's offered to serve, and he's been great at the job. And I know we're going to talk about N, which I believe is the appointment of Mr. Pascarella to the Municipal Utilities Authority, so I might as well just opine there. I'm glad he's also agreed to step up and serve on the Municipal Utilities Authority. He'd be my first appointment there. And I'd like to have a lawyer over there who's keeping an eye on things. We're basically left in the dark here, and I think it's a good appointment. He's a highly educated, highly respected, highly intelligent person. There's no one with that level of education serving on the Municipal Utilities Authority currently.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion L, please. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Hensel.
Council President, who made the motion?
I made the motion, and second, I believe, was Iverson.
Okay.
Roll call.
Council President Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Iverson?
Yes.
Council Vice President Coleman?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Toole?
Yes.
Councilman Byrne?
Yes.
Councilman Quintus?
The question I had here was the conflict between all the different positions the man holds, and how can he represent us in so many different venues without having to recluse himself for some things. For this particular issue, he's well qualified, and I'm going to say yes to this one.
Okay. Moving on to N, keep your comments brief. I know the mayor already explained his position. If you could explain yours, I'll go to a motion and roll call, please.
I'm sorry, and I'm allowed to talk?
Yeah, you want to
And
speak
again,
about that or not?
now, yeah, this is the one that's more concerning. Again, there's definitely going to be, I assume, going to be some conflict where he's going to have to recluse himself because as a prosecutor and the number of different positions he's holding in town, and the fact that he's not the only Pasquarella that's so heavily involved all of a sudden, I think it's bad. It's a bad look for the town to have this man representing so many different positions, and I have to say no.
Okay, so that's your vote?
Yes.
All right, thank you for your discussion there.
I think we still need a motion.
We'll do a motion. I'll motion in a second, please, on N.
Second.
Okay, motion was made by Council President Lamb, seconded by Councilwoman O'Toole. Council President Lamb?
Yes.
Council Vice President Coleman?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Toole?
Yes.
Councilman Byrne?
Yes.
Councilman Iverson?
I do believe it's not a good look, but I do believe it's a good move to have an educated and experienced lawyer on the MUA, so I vote yes.
And Councilman Quintus?
Yeah, no.
I believe there's no reports for today, is that correct, as we did last meeting?
That is correct. We did it at the reorg meeting. So we're moving on to the approval of the bills.
Move the bills. May I have a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Lamb, seconded by who? Councilman Iverson?
Yes.
Okay. Council President Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Iverson?
Yes.
Council Vice President Coleman?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Toole?
Yes.
Councilman Byrne?
Yes.
And Councilman Quintus?
Yes.
Okay, usually, again, we won't move on to elected official comments. However, I think the public comments going first. I think it's more appropriate because I want to let the public give them their complete and automatic time to begin. So I'm going to read my directions, and I'll ask that you form a line in the center. So we'll open this down to public comment. A public comment session will be for a total of 60 minutes. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes, must yield the floor to the next speaker immediately upon completion of their statement, right to 3 minute mark, whichever comes first. Please form a line in the central aisle, and when called, state your full name and address. There will be no extra time granted for any reason, and no speaker may yield their time to another. Speakers and members of the audience at all times shall maintain proper decorum and shall make their comments in a civil manner. Personal attacks, obscenities, derogatory, slanderous remarks will not be tolerated to exceed your time. All comments or questions from a member of the public shall be directed to the council president, who is under no obligation to answer any impromptu questions or address any remark. However, I ask the audience to remain completely quiet during the 60 minutes. Any disruption shall be treated as interference with a public meeting and will stop the speaker and ask the disrupting member of the audience to leave. Upon conclusion of the speaker and/or this portion of the meeting, I may call to other council members, department heads, or the mayor or administrator his designee to respond to topics presented during the public session. Mr. Hensel, will you please set the clock for 60 minutes and begin the 3-minute clock for each speaker as they begin speaking. There might be a time where I ask you to stall the 3-minute clock to allow a response or clarification. If need be, I'll ask you to do so. Anybody have any questions on the dais for me? First speaker, please.
Lisa Garris, 1932 Pinta Court. In 2015, Todd Garris became a volunteer auxiliary officer with the Comsboro Police Department, bringing with him 11 years of experience in Metuchen. In 2017, he was hired by TRPD as a permanent, part-time, unarmed Class 1 special law enforcement officer. His position was an appointed position. He was not a confidential employee nor seasonal. Officer Garris' primary responsibility was to patrol our parks in a marked TRPD vehicle, ensuring a police presence for the safety of our residents 4 to 5 days per week. He was regularly called upon to assist with directing traffic during power outages, down trees, flooding, motor vehicle crashes, and disabled vehicles. He could be there for hours, freeing up full-time patrol officers to handle more urgent police matters. He was a field training officer, worked at special events, and took pride in fostering positive community relations. He provided extra patrols for safety during July 4th week, responding to fireworks complaints, so patrol officers could respond to police emergencies. Halloween, Christmas week in retail parking lots, and religious holidays to provide a police presence at synagogues, North Dover neighborhoods, churches, and mosques, always ensuring that our community was safe and well supported. Officer Garris worked closely with the community fairs and traffic safety units to place the Keep Kids Alive Drive 25 signs where speeding was a reported issue. This initiative, initially approved by Chief Little and continued with the approval of current Chief Sundak, has been embraced by the community. A small yard sign purchased by the Toms River Police Foundation is placed in front of each home in the neighborhood, reminding motorists of the posted 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. The signs remain for 14 days and then are moved to the next location on a list. It became a much sought-after program with residents calling TRPD to request their neighborhood be added to the list for signs. According to NHTSA statistics, the death rate on residential streets is over twice that of highways. 500 children under 14 years old are killed each year while walking in their neighborhood. This initiative is more than just placing speed limit signs. It's about creating safer streets for our children and reassuring residents that their safety concerns are being heard. Todd Garris has a strong sense of community service and has dedicated over 40 years to serving the communities he has lived in. He is the most decorated Class 1 officer in TRPD, loved by the community and his colleagues. His accomplishments are well documented both within the department and online. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. Todd Garris, 1932 Pinta Court. Since 2017, I was the TRPD Special Law Enforcement Officer, Class 1. I have numerous guardian commendations for the department, the latest on December 20. I have never had any reprimands or disciplinary actions, verbal or written. I was shocked when on January 3rd, I was informed by Chief Sundak that the mayor did not reappoint me. I was given no reason except the mayor decided not to reinstate me. My employment was terminated, not for any disciplinary reason, but because the mayor had made a unilateral decision that affected me alone. This raises the questions. Was this a fair decision? Why was I singled out when all other Class 1s were reappointed? Maybe there was a mistake in leaving my name off the reappointment list. All I ask is to be reappointed as a Class 1 officer and given the opportunity to continue serving the community. I dedicated significant time to the Keep Kids Alive Drive 25 program since 2023. On April 7, 24, while checking signs on Indian Hill Road in a marked police vehicle, Mayor Roderick stopped to ask me my name and whether there had been speeding complaints. I explained the signs are placed based on a list of residents' complaints. Mayor Roderick became focused on his belief that he was being targeted and harassed, with me implicated in carrying out the act by placing the signs in the neighborhood. On April 12th, 40 signs went missing on Indian Hill and McGuire Roads. A TRPD investigation determined that a township employee in a township vehicle took the signs. That vehicle was found in the township garage with 40 signs in plain view. Despite those signs not being returned, the program continued. In September, Chief Sundak told me that Mayor Roderick had threatened not to reappoint me in January, but assured me that he defended me, my work ethic, and my record. He approached me multiple times and reassured me that the matter had been squashed and my reappointment was not in jeopardy. My termination affects the safety of every Toms River resident. A once reliable resource for our community is lost, and I urge you to consider the ramifications. There is one less officer and patrol car on our streets. All I ask is to be reappointed as a Class 1 officer and given the opportunity to continue serving my community. I have no political agenda. One person's misguided beliefs should not affect an officer's career. Township politics shouldn't dictate hiring and firing. You are the governing body of this town, and I am asking you to please do the right thing and undo this wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
No, there's no comments. I was clear on the rules. No comment during this period. No.
Next speaker, please. Thank you.
Catherine Christopherly, 426 Terrace, Wortley Beach, New Jersey. I'd like to thank Town Council President Justin Lamb and John Mealy, the engineer, for cooperating with us and helping us to move along the streetscape plan for Orton Beach. We've been trying to get through the paperwork for 10 years with the state, and we still haven't reached the finish line.
Close.
We're close, but we really need your help. We can't do this by ourselves. So we are very grateful that it is on the agenda and it is approved and that finally we'll be moving forward. Just, thank you very much.
We thank you and the OBVTA. Thanks for coming. Be in touch. Okay.
I just want to say thank you because now we have to pay for parking to come to the meetings. So I think we should have waited for changing the time until we saw the changes Justin is putting in place to see if it brings more people back. Prior to COVID, I came twice a month for at least 6 years, unless I had a school function that night. I stopped because of the screaming and yelling, and I believe that many other people stopped for the same reason. I do watch it at home. Now, Ms. O'Toole said she liked the 4 o'clock because more seniors can come. Now, I know there's a lot of people here today. I don't know if they took off from work to be here for this. But she wants more seniors to come. But that's at a price for all the other people who work that can't take off to come here at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And also, prior to most of you being elected, I don't believe I saw any of you at meetings. So now all of a sudden you're here because you have to be, and now you're saying, well, this ain't nothing, we want it at 4 o'clock. My other thing was, it was mentioned at the last meeting that we pay for department heads to come to these meetings. If we have to pay for department heads to come to the meetings, do we also pay for the attorneys? And if so, why do we now have 2 attorneys at the meetings? When Attorney Molina was here, it was only him, and he behaved in a professional manner. Why are we paying for 2? You want to cut expenses? You only need 1.
If you remember, Fitzsimmons was here as well. Kenneth Fitzsimmons, there was 2. Orlino and Fitzsimmons.
Three, actually.
Actually 3, you're right, correct.
What was the other gentleman's name?
I don't remember.
Fitzsimmons,
He just didn't
Mundy, Gary Mundy. Thank you for your comments, Pat. You're all taken under consideration.
Okay.
Always, thank you. Next speaker, please.
Also, in the first ordinance, you're changing the speed limit.
Yes.
From what to what? It's not in there.
Well, it's the first reading, and we're going to, we have some council members who want to spend some time going over it. We'll have the second reading in a month. The chief of police is here as well, and I'll sit with you at the end of the meeting. I'll go over exactly the zones and how they're changing.
Okay.
All right? Next speaker.
Also, Council President, I just sent a written directive to the business administrator, township attorney, to give over to the parking authority. No one will have to pay for parking during.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Next speaker.
Julie Adamick, 69 Cedar Grove Road. Regarding the council meeting time changes, I really personally think this is a ruse of changing these meeting times due to the department head. To me, it seems retaliatory, as are the rules, some of these rule changes. No department heads came for the bulk of the year. The meetings will still end up being at dusk or darkness half of the year when people get out, so seniors are not going to come. You're now preventing working employees and residents with kids from coming to these meetings to bring up relevant issues that may impact them in their own neighborhood. And they would now need to take time off, and all residents, of course, are now being charged to come to these public meetings with parking. This may, in fact, be a hardship for some people. So I think you should go back to 6 p.m., which is what the meeting time was for years. It's the only public meeting that's changed significantly its time, And these department heads, in fact, do other programs in the evening, such as the other evening, the Clifton Avenue Park proposal that was done in this room and that I attended. The second thing I want to talk about is the high motor vehicle accident rate in Toms River and having the highest pedestrian death rate in Ocean and Monmouth County between January of 2020 and September 23rd of 24. There were 16 deaths in Toms River versus Lakewood 7, which has a much higher population, and we all know a much higher pedestrian population, and Brick had 6. I did an Oprah request, and there were 771 motor vehicle accidents on Hooper Avenue alone, between Water Street and Yorktown Boulevard, and that was January 24 to mid-November of 24. So it just illustrates how unsafe the Toms River roads are, and this affects all residents. It's a 4-alarm fire, and while motor vehicle accidents and pedestrian deaths are completely ignored and completely out of control, powers to be are focused on fireworks, concerts, recreation for a small number of residents, and our insurance premiums for all drivers are being negatively impacted by these excessive motor vehicle accidents. There's people grieving from the loss of loved ones, which were preventable, and everybody's being inconvenienced with repeated power outages as a result. So it's now time to step up and address this out-of-control accident rate, the excessive pedestrian deaths and deaths of bikers, and these rampant traffic violations that are contributing to them, along with the lack of functioning streetlights all over town.
On that note, though, can you stay behind, because I have an update on your email. You asked me, no, time out, you asked me for to get some lights repaired, and they have been. I want to give you that update before you leave, okay? Stay behind. Next speaker, please.
Melissa Fernandez, Executive Director, Toms River Business Improvement District. Justin, you and I spoke briefly, but I'd like to congratulate you on your position.
Thank you.
Mr. Byrne, welcome, and Mr. Coleman, thank you for everything that you've done for me personally and for the bid this past year. I'll be brief, I just want to announce that the bid has submitted permits for over 75 dates for festivals, farmers markets, and smaller community events. We hope to see the council, administration, and the community out to support our small businesses. And our next event, our first event of the season, is the Irish Festival this March 1st from 12 to 6 in downtown. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Joe Bonapastor, 2120 Terrace. I want to talk about flood mitigation. I reached out to you, Councilman Lamb, and you, Mayor Roderick. You get it. We got a response from you finally, Councilman. Trying to understand how it was decided what streets were included in flood mitigation.
Yeah, yours is.
Well, so nobody's actually come back to me and told me that.
Mr. Mealy, you want to come up and explain?
Before Mr. Mealy jumps in, as far as determining, it's anything under 2.5 feet. We'll get a valve. And as far as road raisings, there's a priority list now. We're working on. The prior administration had no priority list. It was sort of willy-nilly what streets were getting raised. We just completed the first round of these valves, and if they work out as well as we believe they will, we're going to install them this year in the entire township, which would mean every street should see an incredible improvement in regard to water rising back up through the storm water, which is what's causing this in many neighborhoods. Once upon a time, the township had valves for these streets, right, to keep the tide from running back up through the sewer. But they were old-fashioned valves. They were out in the lagoon. They'd get plugged up, and I guess they became difficult to service, and at some point the prior administration authorized the removal of all of them. Not Mo Hill, but I believe it happened under the Kelleher administration. Since then, there's been this attempt to raise roads. They cost like $2 million, or $1 million to $2 million each road. But there are so many roads that are beneath that 2.5 foot tidal rise. We're basically flooding on so many different streets. So we're testing out these new valves, which have been shown to work in Florida and over in Europe and places like that, and the valve is in the street, right? It's in the street and not out in the water where it's going to get plugged up with stuff. It's very easily serviceable, and what will happen is the tide rises up over the storm water output, it will, like a check valve, it will stop from flooding. It will not prevent those events that occur once or twice a year where the water comes over the bulkhead. So we anticipate finishing all streets with these valves this year, pending that we get good results from this first set, which, Mr. Mealy, do you mind coming up now and explaining or talking about how many valves we just installed? I believe it was 27 roads, right? We did 27 streets.
There's 27 valves and I believe it was 13 streets, and we've upped it a few extras. You're Joe, right?
Yes. Yes.
I have you on my schedule to call you tomorrow. We talked. Yeah. So we're
all over it.
We're all over it. You're in. You're part of
You're in the list.
Well, that's good to know. Right?
Yeah.
This is the first I'm hearing that.
And I'm sorry, I have so much going on now because of this that I don't always.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I don't even maybe get the opportunity to
If
look
you need
at
anything,
it.
we'll be in touch.
I must interrupt here. I'm real happy that they're addressing your issue. I'm very happy for that.
Next
This
week.
is not about you or your issue, and I'm very happy it's being taken care of. But 3 times since the public started to speak, the president here has tried to silence me and tell me I have no input.
That's
Yet
not
he just went on to have a conversation about
You don't have the-
situation.
you don't have the floor, please.
He allowed the mayor to do the same, and I don't believe that that's the way.
Because we're answering.
I was answering.
No, time out.
On this table, I'm an equal representative of this county. No more authority to silence me than you do anybody else up here, except for the mayor, because he is the invited guest.
You're not offering any, you're not dealing with this man. I have been. He's a ward representative. He's a constituent in my ward. Why?
If somebody else got up, you wouldn't let me speak.
Because you're.
You do. You do and you are.
You ask.
So if you're going to apply the rule,
Yeah,
you apply it equally.
You'll first ask to
This is
speak.
not
You'll first ask to
everybody's
speak.
equal except
You'll
for
first,
four equal
you'll
knowledge.
first ask to speak, and I'll
I
give you
did.
permission. You didn't ask.
I did.
No, you
No,
didn't.
no,
No, you
no public
didn't.
comment.
No, you always
No
want to make a
comment.
circus. You always want to pull out a turn. No, you won't do that in the future.
Apply
You
the
will.
rules equally.
I will. But guess what? They start with you. You're calling out a turn. You're calling out a turn. You are not
Make sure
offering.
you're correct on the rule too.
I am correct on that. You will not call out like that in the future. You will first ask to speak. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I have a right to run these meetings with decorum and calmness, and you're acting out of line.
Point out the ordinance.
No, you weren't. 5-8. Township Code, Peter, can you look up 5-8 and read it to him as far as you ordered the meeting?
You have an opportunity to speak during your votes. You have an opportunity to speak during public official comment.
Yeah.
You don't have a right to speak during the public comment
Not
session.
at
If he
all.
wants to recognize the mayor or a township professional,
My
And
comment
Peter-
was just that it be enforced equally.
I know, time out for a second. In Rule 5-8, I have the ability to decide who offers the most technical advice or the most, basically, if you're handling the issue, I have the right to call on that person. You don't handle anything in this township. In fact, I asked you yesterday, come bring me some things that are happening in your ward, because in 3 years, you haven't brought me even a stop sign that you're missing. So I don't know if you drive around there much, but maybe you should start and come to a meeting with some issues that we can bring your residents, and we'll get them on the agenda. But when you need to speak, you ask to speak first, because that's under Township Code 5-8. I have the ability to run this meeting appropriately and calmly without being interrupted by you. Next speaker.
in addition to being in the
And I
meeting.
guess, because I lost those ones, I was going to say at the end of
Nobody call out. The clock's running, it's a running clock. That's how it works. Next speaker, please. Thank you.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you repeat your name and address? I apologize.
Tony Averso, 20 Rico Avenue. This is the 3rd month I've been here.
You got the answer.
November, December, now we're into January. Sent letters, sent an email to the zoning and engineering department about the water problem on Rico Avenue due to the pave job they did. Received nothing, no answers. At the last meeting, sat with your engineer for 45 minutes after the meeting, have not received an answer on that. On the 13th, I opened up an Oprah report against the pave job. 7 days came and went, still don't have any answers. You explain to me, what am I supposed to do now? I bought 7 legal days.
I talk to you once a week, once every 2 weeks. But yes, I do. You text me, you call me, you text and call the mayor. We've been working with Mr. Mealy. He's only been in the
It's
seat
been
for
going
4
on
months.
for a year
Yes,
and 3 months.
the project was done under the last administration. It was done wrong.
You guys
Yeah,
inherited
we
this
have.
problem.
We have, and we've been dealing with it. So we'll be dealing, again,
What do I do about my driveway eroding every time it friggin' rains?
at the end of the meeting, we'll sit by. I got the engineer here. We'll work it out with him. We'll stay by at the end of the meeting. I'll work it out with you.
Can we get Mr. Mealy?
Yes, we will. Yeah, next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Anthony A. Antonise. I go by the stage name of Tone Antone. You guys can check out my videos on YouTube.
I have.
We raised over $23 million for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And you can see us on America Got Talent.
If you can speak to me, though.
You can see us on, I'm so used to speaking to audience.
I know that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is the situation. About 6 years ago, I was on Twitter. And I got into an argument with a few people, but it was a harmless argument. And I went to bed later that day. The police came to my house and asked if they could come in. And they took my property, my guns. I was a police officer for 3 years in Secaucus before the hair started growing. Anyway, to make a long story short, I talked to Mastronardi, Sheriff Mastronardi, and he did promise that if I go to court and I don't get them back, that he would get them back for me. So this has been going on for 6 years. I have a lawsuit against the Township of Toms River for harassment, theft by deception, and I'd like to resolve this thing, and I could just drop the lawsuit, you know, if we could resolve it. This is really all I want, is my property back that belongs to me. There was no charges. They said that it was a threat, but don't forget, I was having arguments with Oprah Winfrey and Governor Murphy, and I'm in a different league when I'm on Twitter. You know, I tweet with all the rock stars and people, actresses, actors. Anyway, I'd like to resolve this and drop the lawsuit. You know, to me, it's worth it to drop the lawsuit, not have a lawsuit against my town. I've been here for 25 years. I check the cove. I'm on the water. We pay good taxes. I tried to set up a meeting with Daniel, and he never got back to me. So that's why I'm really here today, basically.
Sir, this is subject to pending litigation, as you pointed out, and no one up here can really comment on it at this time.
What do you mean litigation? This is
litigation that you brought against the township.
Yeah, but no, this is trying to be resolved. You're the lawyer. This is supposed to. I'm trying to get this resolved.
Tell you what,
litigation.
if you can stay behind. Can you stay behind for the meeting? I'll speak with you personally.
Yeah,
I'll meet
sure.
There's an ante room on the side.
Okay.
I'll meet with you.
Very good, very good. I appreciate it.
Next speaker, please.
Check out the Tone Antone videos, everybody.
Thank you very much.
About 2482 Woodbine Lane, Township, New Jersey. Can you hear me? Yeah. I have two questions I would like to ask. First, we would like to get a traffic light down a little bit here. Thank you. We would like to get a traffic light on Cedar Lane Boulevard and Whitesville Road. That is Lake Ridge, where you come out into Whitesville Road. Mm-hmm. That is very, very dangerous. When you go out there, or you come in, you got your life in your hand. And you have a lot of seniors that use that. So how do we go about that?
I would go to the county. You're gonna have to go to the county meeting, which is across the street.
Yeah. Is that gonna work?
It is, Mike.
Okay, great. Jay, you want to offer?
I've already been in contact with the new engineer for the county, and they are going to initiate a new study because it is a very volatile traffic area. There's a lot of traffic. And with those new 6 medical arts buildings going in there, it's going to even be more concerning. So they are looking at doing a traffic study, and as soon as I have the results, I will bring that back to the community.
Okay, thank you. And the second one is, it's a house on Whitesville. The number is 2475. It's a resident house, but now they're doing an addition, and the addition is a synagogue. How can you put a synagogue into a house? Can someone answer that question for me?
We have anybody from zoning? I know Dave usually sure has the answer to these things. It is my word. Thank you, Justin. But if it was zoned, if it was zoned under the 2 Acres Act, where they probably merged with another property. I know they did it at Charlton Circle and 527 as well. They merged two properties to get to the 2 acres that they needed, and they used one of the properties as the synagogue. I don't know particularly what the implication is on that one.
No, it's not merged with another property. It's one property.
I assume they went through the normal channels and got whatever approvals they need, so that'd be a question for zoning and planning.
Okay.
I'm probably going to ask the engineer if he has more information.
The next question, if that's a house and someone is living in it, do they pay taxes or is it exempt?
That's a tricky answer, and without knowing the use of that property, I can't answer it. From what I understand, there were very few properties in the last couple of years that actually qualified as tax exempt properties. The two new ones that I know of, again on Charlton Circle, when those two lots merged, they became tax exempt, and the other two on Stevens that did the same thing. The main house was on the county road, which was allowable for a house of worship. Those two properties merged, giving them the 2 acres they need. I would assume they came off the tax roll as well. But that particular one you're talking about, I have no knowledge on. I mean, I've seen the house, I know what you're talking about. And is it used as a house of worship, or is it just a big addition? That I don't know.
No, a house of worship is a house of worship. I'm saying it's a synagogue, and then on the other side is a house and people's living in that. So my thing is, I'd like to know, do they pay taxes or is it tax free?
That one, I'll look it up for you. Now that
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
My name's Don Farrell. I live at 879 Indian Hill Road. And this has to do with my section of Indian Hill Road, which is between Cedar Grove and Bay Avenue. And I believe it's been brought up 4 or 5 meetings ago. And the traffic that comes through here, since they put the light in there, I don't know, 30-something years ago, has been disastrous for the people who live on that road. Trying to get out of your driveway. The kids, I'm in a walking district. The kids have to walk to school from there, and it seems like nobody wants to do none. I already emailed Steve Schwartz, your safety officer. He came out, he put a box on the thing. We've had 4, 5, 6 accidents over the last 10 years there. The last one was 2 years ago. Took out a telephone pole, took out 2 cars in the driveway, and now the guy has telephone poles trying to protect his property line where the people keep coming up on there. They knock down the street sign, the yield signs, and it's terrible, and it seems like nobody wants to do nothing.
Well, I'm definitely gonna look into it, the mayor. We're gonna make sure we get figured out what's going on
Do
there.
some sort of traffic study.
Yeah, let's make sure we-
Preliminary look into these accidents you're talking about. I'm still having a hard time visualizing. You're saying they put a light in and it negatively impacted you? That's the part
Well,
I'm having a hard
because
time.
Indian Hill goes between Hooper Avenue and Bay Avenue, and then I'm on that short section that has 7 houses basically on each side of the road. The road is curved the whole way.
So you're in where it comes into Cedar Grove like that?
Correct.
And you feel the light has increased traffic or decreased?
Everybody tries not to go to the light, right? The light at Bay Avenue, so they cut through our section, and the people who live, if you would probably put through Cedar Grove.
Yeah, I wonder if we're allowed to just shut it down. I think I know what you're talking about, and I'm not so sure. It's sort of like as a cut through. And you know what? Perhaps I'm guilty of the same.
Mayor,
right when you're going down to Cedar Grove, you don't bother making a left.
Correct.
Right.
And instead, and then you probably got the traffic backs up from the stop sign probably through your neighborhood.
The problem is, if you turn from Cedar Grove onto my road, and you see 2 or 3 cars coming your way, what does that mean to you?
That means it's what?
That means it's green light, right? So they go fast. The other side of Indian Hill, once you go across Bay Avenue, is 40 miles an hour. So they're coming 40 miles an hour to that light, they see that light changing, they fly through that light, and they're coming on a curved road that I live on, and the kids have to walk there. I go to walk my dog. It's hard to get across my own street because of the traffic.
Can we order a traffic study for that and see if it would be legal to just shut down access into that road from one direction, and then maybe people could just turn in from Cedar Grove as all of the other blocks?
Mayor, I just wanted to let you know that I know what he's talking about. Interestingly enough, there is a 25-mile-an-hour posting That doesn't mean that people follow it, I'm just telling you, but they're actually in the 25-mile-an-hour posting there.
We're going to work on it tonight.
When you're coming from the other side, it's 40.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're going to work with the engineer tonight to get this going. Thank you.
But could you please follow up with us via email as well? So if you want to reach out to us, because I don't have your contact information, and I'd like to be able to reach out to you. Is that okay?
Thank you.
It's droderick@tomsrivertownship.com. All right,
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamie Tesoro. I'm a teacher in the Township River School District, and I've been coming to quite a few of these meetings lately, and I'm still confused about the agenda. When you're going through the approvals, I didn't even have time to look at this, to even comment on anything, and I couldn't find it anywhere online. So, where are these agendas before the meetings?
They're on our website, under agendas and meet minutes.
And when were they posted?
I usually like them the day before, but if they come up the day of, it'll be the day of, usually that morning.
So they were there that morning?
This morning, correct.
Mr. Pasquarello, can you address the requirements?
Well, there are none.
Yeah, because this is a regularly scheduled meeting, the township doesn't have to release the agenda in 48 hours advance notice.
We've addressed that before.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
If it
I
was
mean,
posted-
as far as when it's gonna be posted, sometimes we don't get proposed resolutions until a couple days before the meeting, and we have to firm up what's gonna be on the agenda. We don't want a situation where there's an agenda being posted and then items are being removed or items are being added on. We want it to really be finalized prior to it being released.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Was there a particular...
As a school teacher and someone who works,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of hard to be checking these things because I'm probably in the classroom teaching.
Right.
Number one. Number two, I respectfully request that you consider changing the time of the meeting to later. I respect seniors, I love them, but most of us are working. We're working on a resolution to have a different meeting time for them, and then when most of the public is working and employed so that we can come here.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Patricia Hammer. I live on 604 Bachelor Street. I am here in support of the playground grant request for Resolution J. The playground would be one of very few on the south side of Route 37. Currently, many of the children in the community go to Washington Street School in the off hours. With the playground addition at Clifton Avenue Park, this population will have an area to play, gather, socialize, and make friends. This plan will enhance the community. I have attended both of the grant meetings with the engineer, his name I don't remember.
John Mealy.
Thank you. So, at the last meeting, I supplied him with multiple signatures from community members in support of the playground. The majority of concerns I ran into were regarding off-street parking and fencing around the playground for safety. As long as these are anticipated for, this is a great amount of support that we have for this playground. I understand that this playground is in its infancy, but I plan on involving myself in the fruition of this playground to ensure transparency and to continue open communication regarding this playground that can affect my community. Ultimately, thank you for moving forward to make this unused parkland into a useful space for the community.
Thank you very much.
Councilman, I'll just jump in because it's part of my comments anyway, but I want to thank the council for supporting the grant initiative and thank John Mealy for locating it. The township has plans to create two new parks and to renovate another 3 or 4. Clifton Avenue, we're doing sprinkler parks in 2 locations as well. But particularly down Clifton Avenue where, as the resident just stated, there's nothing. They have to travel halfway across town or more to get to a park. I know the prior administration purchased it as open space. We already have plans in, but this grant is terrific as long as we make it handicap accessible and have opportunities for handicapped children to play as well. The state gives you almost enough money to build the entire park. So there'll be one there, also one at Deer Hollow, okay? We have plans to do sprinkler park down at Shelter Cove, also over here in Huddy. we have plans to renovate Skyview Park, and the Pier Spray Park, and also we're looking into finally building something at the horse park.
Thank you very much.
10 acre plot.
Excellent. Great news. Next speaker. How are you?
Okay,
Good to see you.
Dennis Galanti, 1149 Cherokee Court. Real positive on affordable housing, good. That was some comment you made though, regards. That was rather content-based, not content neutral. Are you also, you have made this, never have been before, restricting public comment, the issue with Mr. Cohen, viewpoint content discrimination. You said that now this is a limited, okay, comment form. All right. Does that apply to you?
Time, manner, time, manner, space, what do you mean? I don't know, you're asking me a legal question?
It's our meeting.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, I believe very important that this resolution went through, and I believe that what I said was not derogatory, didn't have any, I don't think it was derogatory at all.
In your, when I watched the videos, in the video, you said to that gentleman several times, I really don't know what you're talking about. I don't know where this is going. I don't know what you mean.
Right.
And then you stopped him saying it was derogatory.
No, it sounded like you're talking about Middletown or another county, not Tom's River, so I'm gonna keep it to Tom's River.
All right. All right. Well, all right. I did all the case law research. I have it for you. I have it from the ACLU. I have it all the case law, court opinions.
I love this subject.
I'm going to give it all to you.
Thank you.
All right, good. Ordinance and first reading. I asked you in the past, we used to publish them on the Township. You said you were going to take it under advisement. Did you?
It's my first meeting live. I did, and we'll have it up, and you can read it, you can distill it, sure.
Thank you.
After today's meeting, we'll get it all up, right? Is that right, Mr. Edsel? Thank you.
Another, something very interesting in observation here. There's never any executive sessions after the meeting. I've seen one in an entire year. Now, what does that mean? Some council members, the minority, they say that they don't have all the information and research. Well, if you don't have an executive session, you can't hold that meeting because there's a quorum and it has to be an open public meeting. Why aren't there any executive sessions? Where is all this business conducted?
We had an agenda. I can answer. No, let me answer.
Yeah.
We had an agenda meeting. I'm answering your question.
But all can't be here.
No, I actually met separately with Councilman Quinliss.
No, they don't need to hear what each other has to say. It needs to be a discussion.
I guess we're not gonna, I'm trying to answer your question.
Okay.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
Okay.
If you want an answer to your question, for 4 years with Mohill, I think we only had 1 or 2 executive sessions. You were absent, interestingly enough, for most of those meetings. We've already had 1 or 2 here in 1 year, and we need to discuss legal matters.
They're only permitted
There are none.
We're not all gonna talk that turn, thank you.
They're only permitted in certain circumstances.
Thank you. We're not gonna talk about personnel issues. Usually we have them for personnel issues. And if we haven't had one in a while, well, we have no personnel issues to
Land
discuss this morning.
negotiations, development, there's so much under
I
executive.
try to answer your question. I'll stay after the meeting. I
Are
get the
you
lesson.
trying to say that we should be conducting business behind closed doors because you can't do that? It's only legal matters, so it almost sounds like a loaded, entrapment question.
No, he doesn't. No, I'm trying to answer his question. I think I answered it.
Just looking to ask you a loaded, entrapping type of question.
I answered
Because
it.
you know what that would mean.
I can handle this. I can handle this. I
Now
answered
this
it.
is creating an argument.
No, I answered
It's
it.
all kinds of discussion.
I answered it.
You're taking up my
I'm
time.
not
How are
taking-
you keeping track of
I'm
my
not
time?
taking up your time. I've been answering your question. Look,
We have an ethics committee.
thank you for your time.
There you go.
Don Lazar Fernella, 752 Jacqueline Court.
Step up to the microphone, please.
Can you hear me now? All right. I'm here to put on record that with the approval of the 2 new shared services agreements between the Board of Health and the town, one for animal services and one for the building, it's very clear that there's still a need of cost to the Township taxpayers. The new agreement clearly states that after the first 50 intakes, the town is to pay $55 per intake. If using 2023's numbers, 455 intakes minus 50, that means the town would be paying $23,000 to the county, and that is not to include disposals, non-domestics, the mortgage, the utilities, all the maintenance, everything, because the town is still responsible for that, including renovations, which this administration is gifting the $655,000 left from Gene Pine's estate to the county to carry out unnecessary renovations, which includes a complete overhaul of the interior of a multi-million-dollar building that is roughly 10 years old, which I assure you will cost much more than $655,000 to renovate. I imagine that Tom's River taxpayers will foot the bill for the rest of that as well. So in short, I just wanted to make it very clear to anyone who is interested that essentially the county taking over the shelter is by no means free, and we're already being double taxed because the county charges us for these services as part of our county taxes.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
How are you, Council? Robert Capitelli, 1472 Lakewood Road, Toms River. I would just like to take a second to ask you guys to reevaluate the times again. There's a lot of people that cannot make it to these meetings because of the start time. I'd like to second some people in the crowd, I guess, got tickets. I want to just point out the parking meters. In my personal opinion, they're unconstitutional. I would like to the council to take another look. You know, with these hardworking Americans behind us, they're taxed every which way, and it's just another tariff on the little guys. So, in my personal opinion, I think you guys should have a ribbon cutting ceremony for when they get torn out of the ground one day, hopefully. But I would just like to thank you all.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker. How are you there?
How are you, Mr.
Good. Good to see you.
I want to thank you for responding to both my emails. Mr. Coleman, I had sent him 6 or 7, never got back to me. Just a couple quick questions. I was late for the meeting. Maybe the mayor can shed some light. Where are we at with the park? That's my neighborhood with Clifton and Bachelor. I couldn't attend either meeting.
Just for the sake of making sure we get the rest of the public comments, I'll reserve comments for the end. I believe we have council comment or elected official comments at the end. I'll reserve it for that.
All right. Who would have the answer from you regarding the ordinance? When my boss then was the sheriff, or was the chief, he had he was a lieutenant. I know there was an ordinance passed after that, but when you become the chief of police, you have to have 1 year and 1 day. Is that ordinance still in place? You know?
Again, I don't have it in front of me. I don't have the code book, but I'll certainly take up the legal after the meeting.
If you can. I don't know who I should direct this to. On November 25th of 2024, I read an article, I think it was APP or Patch. Ms. Wall's here tonight. What became of the 32 homeless people that were relocated? Do we know where they went?
If the administration wants to speak about that, they'll speak about that during their elected official.
You mean after the public comment?
After comment period, yes.
Okay. And the last thing was, which just came to me, the gentleman that spoke here, I guess, about the traffic, the cut through, I know where that is. And I'm not being a wise guy when I say this. That would be a good spot for these traffic 25-mile-an-hour signs. And I'll also email Chief Sundak. I do believe traffic safety is a big issue in the town.
We're working on it.
We had as many as 12. We're down to, I believe, 4. We could use more of that. I know you don't, well, actually you do. Right off of Route 37 at night, you can hear these cars at nighttime all year long, so whatever you guys can do with the traffic, it's a big issue.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Name of the
Speakers
speaker.
too, if you. Thank you.
Dana Tormolen, Messenger Street. First and foremost, I want to say that my father had an incident where an ambulance was required, and I would like to thank the EMTs who showed up from our Toms River First Aid. They did a wonderful job. It's actually the second time that I've dealt with them personally, and I want to reach out to whoever's in charge and say thank you for that. That being said, as per the 4 o'clock time, I had to come straight from work, missed my opportunity to speak on items J and K on the agenda. I also attended the meetings for the parks. Wonderful ideas. However, it may just be more beneficial for the township to look into swapping the plans for the 2 parks based on size and traffic. Bachelor Street is extremely narrow, as most of us are well aware. Putting 12 parking spots and a driveway in and out of Bachelor Street would be nearly impossible for the residents to get through, or anybody else to drive down the street, in all fairness. It would be like a nonstop game of chicken for everybody. So, since I didn't get to speak earlier because of this convenient time, if you can just rethink that, maybe table it or look into further things, or a traffic study for Bachelor Street. I understand one was done for Clifton, for the atrocious four-way stop there. But if you can do a traffic study for Bachelor Street from the town and not the county, that would be great.
If you could do me a favor, just memorialize what you're saying so I can have it and go to the proper people that are doing it. And Mr. Mealy is taking notes back there, but we'll certainly take under advisement and make sure we work on it, make sure it's right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I too would like at a later time, 5 o'clock even better.
Take under advisement. Thank you. Any other speakers? Okay.
Oh, we need a sorry.
Good evening. First time here at the city council meeting, and
sir, I'm sorry.
I'm enjoying it. I'm
sorry.
I'm enjoying it very much.
Can I get your name and address?
Sure, absolutely. John J. Tenrero, 2255 South Chanticleer Court. That's Greenbrier Woodlands, off of New Hampshire Road. My question's directly related to New Hampshire Road. When you leave Greenbrier Woodlands, and if you make a right-hand turn and you're heading for Route 70, especially at nighttime, people use the shoulder for parking. You see big tractor trailers on the right-hand side, and on the other side, I believe there's an educational center, a Jewish educational center. They park there. You see cars all the way down the road. I kind of consider it a safety issue. I'm not sure if this has been brought up before here to the city council, but I'd like to know maybe some comments on that, or where we're at with that.
One second, Mayor. Let Councilman Quinlis, he wants to discuss. It's his ward he wants.
I believe he's referring to an area that's not Tom's River though.
No?
So, no, so when you get down, when you get down to that end,
That's
it's Lakewood Township, right? So the synagogue that you see and educational center that you see on the left, that's Lakewood, and all that new development where all those trucks are parked, that is also Lakewood. But you could call the Lakewood PD, or you may have the sheriff's department as far as going down there and issuing tickets. You could give them a call.
Thank you for clarifying that. I wasn't sure.
Thank you for your comments. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak? Seeing none, make a motion to close public comment, please.
Motion was made by Council Vice President Coleman.
All in favor? Aye. Moving on to elected officials' comments. I will start with ladies first, Ms. O'Toole.
I have nothing to say today.
Thank you, Ms. O'Toole. Moving on to, again, Councilman Quinlis, please.
In regards to Todd Garrett, I gotta hope that what happened to you was a mistake, an oversight on this administration's part, that an officer so well endeared to the community and with an excellent record of service for our town, that you were accidentally taken off this list. It's an expense for the town to send another guy through the academy, as you know, and if we're about saving money and we have a 9-year veteran, 9 years or 10 veteran in this department, who's already been through the academy, obviously, and has an unblemished record, it would seem contrary to our Republican values to replace him with a new guy that we do have to put through the academy. Todd, I really hope we get a better outcome for this. I hope that the mayor can change his mind on this particular subject, and I want to thank you for all the work you have done for Town's River. The time for these meetings is a hindrance not only to lots of members of the community, but to those of us who have regular jobs that we have to attend to. The short notice for the agendas, the lack of agenda meetings, cycling the council people in and out, the no heads up on any information is all a way of controlling the narrative, controlling what you get to see and what I get to see. It's a way of controlling how I get to educate myself on these topics, find the information I need to make a logical answer that benefits the community. Not that benefits me, or not that benefits the administration. It's about benefiting the people of Toms River. It is all done intentional. Don't be fooled for a second that this is just a smarter way to have, or smarter time to have a meeting, and that it's smarter that we put these agenda out. Because in the last administration, they did this meeting twice a month. So if the department head couldn't get their agenda item in on time, it was 2 weeks later when it got on. Now, if they don't get it in on time, they have to wait a month. So yes, it might be a little bit more frantic for our clerk to take care of it that way, but it's all part of the design. They do not want you to know They do not want you to participate, and they do not want to hear that you disagree with what they're doing. Don't be fooled. As far as the appointing AA Academy, again, I have to point out that we've used our police officers, our expensive police officers, to do animal control for the last couple of months to supplement the amount of time that AA Academy could not get to us because they do serve so many other municipalities. These police are not trained for animal control. We're putting their lives at risk. We're putting their safety at risk. And at the same time, we're taking these police off the road. And that is counterintuitive to being, to trying to do better for our town. I think it's ridiculous. Although I appreciate the fact that our officers do it, it's not really helping the community at large. And one more thing, I believe somebody left some items in one of the town hall storage closets that were donated by an Eagle Scout with autism. And that person would like to try and claim them. So hopefully we'll find that closet and get those goods back to the individual.
Okay.
And otherwise, have a great weekend.
Thank you. Councilman Iverson, please.
Yeah, I'd just like to talk about the Officer Garris issue. I had never met Todd Garris until he was setting up the signs on my road, and I have to let you know that my neighbors were thrilled. And just speaking with him for just a few minutes, I could just tell what a wonderful person he was. I believe it was an oversight, and I believe this should be revisited and he should be reinstated. And that's it.
Councilman Byrne, please.
Yes, I would like to thank those people that gave me such a warm welcome, and I'm sure that's the vast majority. And I'm so happy to be part of this in the future of Toms River. I live here, I love it, and it's where I want to be. And I want to keep it a good place for young families, and I'm really impressed with that. But the Huddy Park, with what's going on, I love the concerts, and somebody said a couple of people came. There were thousands of people there, and it's a great town to live in. I'm fortunate, and I think everybody here is very fortunate also. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Coleman, please.
I just want to thank the many people that have come to me since I've moved over in the chair as Vice President, who recognized that for my first year it was extremely difficult under the circumstances, but also complimented me for hanging in there and doing a good job. For those people, and that's some people that actually gave me a pretty hard time sometimes, but they said they recognized what I went through and that I did a good job. And I just want to thank those people for their support, and for the people that have supported me, recognizing the difficulty that I have at home. I also want to thank you very much for that. You're very kind. Thank you, and have a good weekend.
Thank you. Just want to real quick, just first congratulate State Senator Doug Steinhardt of the 23rd Legislative District. He was nominated by President Donald Trump to be the next U.S. Attorney for New Jersey. Senator Steinhardt is a patriot, and he will serve that role with distinction. I also want to thank, if we're talking about people I like serving with, there'll be Councilman Quinsless, who I wanted to my right, because we enjoy these council meetings. We enjoy, again, we don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, but we do on others. We spent a nice hour yesterday together at the clerk's office, went over the agenda in detail, and I want to thank him for support tonight on the, again, rejecting this affordable housing round, which, again, once we went over it together and reviewed it, there was no surprises, right, Jim? It was pretty straightforward. But I want to thank him for his steadfast support. Sometimes we just, we're like when you're in school with somebody, you just sometimes don't get along about style or, but I really do like him, and I do enjoy serving with him. So, Jim, you're going to sit next to me because I just enjoy being next to you. I want you to know that. I also want to thank the Public Works. I saw Anthony Vignola in the crowd. He's been a big help. I have a resident in the crowd who had an issue with a street sign, and we took care of that rapidly within a day or so. So, man, when I call the Public Works, they are all over anything that comes up. We had they were our unsung heroes. when we had that snow event a couple weeks ago, and they were all over it. Our streets were safe. They do a great job. They're on top of everything. I want to thank them personally. I also want to thank some of the crowd who I don't see eye to eye always. It's Paul Williams. A couple weeks ago, I was at the local brewery, the Battle River Brewing here with my wife, and an elderly male had difficulty breathing. It was a cardiac event. Paul Williams jumped to action. He called 911. He waited there with the man. He rendered aid. The CSOs that showed up, again, like following Dana Tremolin's comments, they were excellent. Police showed up quick. The CSOs were there rapidly, and Mr. Williams stayed and made sure the man was, again, safe, packaged up, calm, and I want to thank him again for a job well done. I want to just finally end it with the audience. Look, I'm not perfect. I'm going to do the best I can. It's hard. You have a lot of hard personalities up here. Everybody wants their shot to speak. I certainly have a tough job of calling balls and strikes and being kind of a referee up here. If I ever feel like I'm talking out of turn, I'll be honest and tell the crowd, hey, I'm trying to, again, find my way. I thank Councilman Quinlisk for, again, keeping us spirited always. And again, if you feel like the 3 minutes are not long enough, and again, 3 minutes, from my vantage point, everybody got through their presentation pretty well. But if you think it's not enough, or you think you want to just, hit me with some derogatory comments, or you want to, really, get into a certain subject a little more, I'll spend the next 30 minutes in the ante room like I did with Mr. Galante downstairs at the last meeting, and I will spend time with you and make sure you are heard. And that's my promise to you for the rest of the year, and we'll finish with the mayor.
I just wanted to address the agenda, the meeting times. As many of you may know, the county is at 4 o'clock, the Toms River Municipal Utilities Authority is at 4:30, and as far as people not being able to come, this is the best crowd we've had in months and months and months, I think, since February when we were debating the police ordinance. So we have a great crowd, so sometimes the data says something entirely different than what some folks are describing it as. As for agendas, we do our best to get them out, as Council President Lamb had said, and Peter Pasquarello. When Councilman Lamb and I were on the council together, we never got an agenda. We were never invited to an agenda meeting. Not only that, but the agendas were often not published until an hour or so before the meeting. At that time, it's up for debate as to whether it was nefarious or not. We do include everyone in agenda meetings, even though oftentimes we get beat up as a result. But Jim has been at them, Mr. Iverson's been at them, Dave Sikosi's been at them. So we do have those agenda meetings. As far as I addressed, when it comes to executive session, it's usually when you're discussing an employee matter or a lawsuit or something like that. We had one as it related to our Lupa litigation at one point in time, but there's been nothing that has come up, and we really shouldn't be meeting as a group of 7 discussing things other than litigation or employee matters, as that would be a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act. As far as accidents in town are concerned, as you know, first of all, I don't know, I didn't inspect it myself, but I don't think anyone actually presented year-over-year accident numbers. But it wouldn't surprise me if accidents are on the rise, given the population is on the rise and the amount of development that there is in town is through the roof. I know with the prior chief, I had been tracking deer accidents, deers darting out in front of cars for about 3 or 4 years, and they were rising steadily. They went from 80 to 90 to 100, 120. That's again partly due to the overdevelopment. You have illegal aliens that now have driver's licenses. I mean, there are a lot of things that impact accidents. We would like to do everything that we can, though, to improve safety and public safety. As for, I want to thank the council for supporting the initiatives on the parks. Very happy about that. And I'm also very, very proud of the work our professionals did in refuting those affordable housing numbers. It's an enormous win for Toms River. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can I motion to adjourn, please? All in favor?